Every day I wake up and I feel so alive. I think to myself.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cheeky Cauldron podcast, where no topic is too spicy for the pot. I am your co-host, Mai Cherie, and I am joined by my cheeky sisters, Ani and Titi. And so last week we had a juicy conversation about Tantra and the Kama Sutra. And today we're going to continue the counterculture lifestyles conversation with Kink. Ooh, we are so inquisitive about this taboo subculture that we have a special guest in the studio today that's going to break it all down for us, all about the erotic world of kink. He is a creative, a consultant, visual artist, accomplished photographer, and a tremendous voice in the kink and LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
He is dedicated to promoting and fostering inclusivity and empowerment of diverse and marginalized communities right here in Austin, Texas. Ladies, please give a warm welcome to Jeremy Teal.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Think about that introduction.
What an introduction. It's so short, sweet, and impactful.
Impactful because that's what you are.
It's who I am.
Yes, that's who you are. So I wanted to just say thank you so much for joining us. And last week, we got a chance to go to the opening of your art exhibit with OFC Creatives. And the title is Black Canvas Beyond Boundaries, which is a part of I Too Am Kink.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to read the description that you have on your website, and it really encapsulates the experience that we had collectively, I feel like. Your work reimagines the portrayal of Black bodies as canvases of limitless expression. And you challenge viewers to consider the complexities of bondage, body positivity, and liberation of the Black body amidst the struggles and pleasures.
Yes.
Wow.
Which is a mouthful, but
wow.
it's a lot to think about while looking at some pictures.
Yes. So what we're going to do now is I would love for us, because everybody was not there. And so I have a little video of the behind the scenes, and let's check it out.
Are you gonna be?
Here we are.
Look how cute y'all look.
Everyone loves
That was my favorite.
It was a wonderful picture.
Yes. That one's
I missed
great.
that one when I first saw it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the music. There's the
How
music is-
long is the exhibit on for?
It's up until the 25th of February.
Okay.
We started on the 2nd. We're going all the way to the 25th. And my hope is to get it across the world.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
everybody can see it.
Yes.
Y'all look so cute.
It was such a good, like a big group came out to support. Like it was so great. We
I
had so
love
much
that.
fun.
That
I
one.
love your floral arrangements as well.
I'm happy you love them.
I love it.
I love a flower. I don't think any event's done until a flower is placed.
Oh, exactly.
I truly believe in that.
Oh yeah.
That was
love that
TT's
piece
favorite.
Yes,
Yeah.
Kinkisha. She's a whole moment. She has
What's her
own
name?
Kinkisha.
Kinkisha.
Yeah, she has her own following at this
I
point.
love that.
Most of them are deltas. I will let that be known.
Keisha, that is amazing. Wow. So that was a really great evening, and let's just get right into it. So in the world of countercultural lifestyles, kink is in a category of its own. And there's a stigma, definitely a stigma around it. So the big question is, what is kink? So I actually asked Alexa.
Shout out to Alexa. Thank you, Alexa.
What is kink? And so she said it is a colloquial term for non-normative sexual behavior. I mean, I'm not sure if she knows what she's talking about, but why don't you give us
pretty broad.
why don't you,
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like broad. So break that down. Like, tell us what kink is.
Kink is broad. So the term kink is it's kind of an all-encompassing way of saying if you don't like doing missionary sex, you're kind of kinky. Right? So, and missionary sex can become kind of kinky. It
Yes.
just depends on what you're doing.
Yes.
But that's essentially what it is. If it's past the mainstream understanding of what heterosexual sex is, it can be considered kinky. And then at that point, it becomes subjective to what you feel is your version of kinky. Because to some people, having anal sex is kinky, right? But that's pretty mainstream. Like, people do it very often. We just don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And then to other people, you got to go all the way to the left to make it kinky.
Yeah,
So,
for some people, the woman getting on top is kinky.
yeah, like it's just it's up to you at that point to decide what kinky is.
Okay. Yeah. So anything that's not normal to the mainstream.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I
to
get
your
it.
mainstream. Because
Your
Hetero,
mainstream,
normal,
whatever that is.
there's so many streams going on at once. So many streams.
Oh my gosh, I believe that. So there's a lot of names and terminology under the umbrella of kink. And so let's pull it up. Let's read some of these terms and let's talk about it. Like, give us an explanation, because I'm not sure. I mean, we want to know. The audience wants to know.
I want to tell you.
Yes.
Fire in the eyes.
Grant,
No.
I
put
want
up
to tell
the
you.
list so we can discuss all the things. Okay.
Okay.
Kink terminology. So BDSM.
BDSM, I'm already bondage, dominance, or discipline, whichever. Some people have different sects for that. Sadism and masochism.
Okay. What is a sadist?
So I believe, okay, please don't quote me on this, because I get them mixed up all the time. If I'm not mistaken, a sadist is the person who enjoys giving pain.
Yes.
And a masochist is the person who enjoys receiving pain.
Yes.
And that can be pain physically or emotionally, mentally, or being restricted from something. So that sort of pain. So
Yeah.
like bondage mentally or whatever.
Okay. So how does that relate to Dom
Uh-huh.
and sub?
So you can be on either side of sadism or masochism. Or I guess the easiest way to say it is you can be the person in control of the scene, which is the sexy thing you're doing, or the action that you're doing. So yeah, you can just say you're the dom. And the same for the sub, you're on the receiving end.
Yeah. And
Or
so,
you're the submissive to the thing.
so Dom is short for dominating.
Dominating, yes.
Or dominatrix.
Uh-huh.
And sub is short for submission.
Correct.
Okay.
Or submissive.
Or submissive. Okay.
So I just want to add one thing. I'm not the expert. I want to say that right now.
Nor am I.
Okay. But I do know that in the world of psychology, if you go see a sex therapist, they actually have tests to see where you are on the sub-dom spectrum.
Yeah.
And apparently every single one of us, even if you're super puritanical and whatever, is on somewhere on that spectrum.
Oh, wow.
And they're saying how healthy it is to know, because even if you don't want to go to extremes in your sex life, whatever that is, like you said,
Yeah.
whatever extreme means, if you don't want to get on top, that's extreme, right? Then you should still know kind of what you like, right?
Yes.
So even if it's super, super vanilla, you can still know if you like to be the dominant one instigating the sex, or if you need your partner to.
Yeah.
It could be
Right.
that
Or it
simple.
could switch up based on how you're feeling.
Exactly.
Right?
That is the other
Very
thing. A
important
lot
to
of
know you have the
people are
ability.
like, will go back and forth.
Yes.
Okay, anyway.
Wow, I
gonna
need,
say
I
that
need
is
to
my
know
2
that
cents.
so I can know if I want to pull it out one day or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me run to go get tested.
I don't think you need
Yeah.
to.
Okay,
I already know.
so exhibitionists.
Exhibitionists, essentially, you just like to be watched. It doesn't have to be sexual. It could just, you don't mind being watched.
And so does that mean, like, if you like to just be naked as well? Like, just
That goes
walking-
more into like a nudist, naturist kind of
Okay.
world.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's more of a lifestyle. This is more of whatever actions you are into. Say you are a sadist. You can be a sadist and an exhibitionist at the same time.
Yes,
Because
okay.
it's for us all. It's not really
Yes.
something that's internal.
Mhm. That makes sense. Okay.
I would say that in the very non-sexual way, you all are exhibitionists because you have a video podcast. This is exhibition.
No, yes, absolutely. I agree. Voyeurism.
You like to watch, and you love to watch people do all kinds of things. People, I mean, being a voyeur is just such a culture for 2024 anyway. Like,
Yes.
we are voyeurs at this point. We want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Every day I wake up, I'm on Instagram.
And just scrolling it.
Scrolling.
We want to
Well,
see
you're
it.
right.
I love this word. Okay, so I started out in the film business and I went to film school. And Alfred Hitchcock brought voyeurism into our cinema.
Okay.
He was the one that held the camera up in a way that made it like we were peeking in on things.
That was really good.
The
Right?
birds?
And this is way back. Yeah, this is before the birds. This is way back when Hitchcock first started. I think Rear Window was the big movie.
Window with
But I love that
Yeah.
voyeurism because back then it was sexy, and voyeurism has been ingrained in our culture.
Yeah.
And so all of these prudish people that are like, ooh, kink, whatever.
Yeah.
Every time you watch any movie, not just Hitchcock, you are into voyeurism.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow.
So anyway, go on.
Cuckolding.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
Cuckolding.
Cuckolding is quite literally being, restricted access to a thing and having to watch. So something that you own or something that is of your possession is being used by someone else and you have to watch.
So if you have a brand new car that you love and you're like tied up in the front of your house,
I
and
mean, in
somebody's
that
driving
example,
it,
someone would drive it around a racetrack and you would be sitting in the stands.
watching. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You'd have to
Like
watch
you,
them.
yeah, you'd have to watch. It's more commonly known for someone having sex with your partner and you're
Yes.
watching without being able to.
No, thank you for
interact.
being that.
Like I've heard
Literal.
a lot about like a husband being a cuckold.
Yeah.
Because
He likes to watch
there.
you with the pool boy.
Yes.
Or she doesn't want you to enjoy today because you did something naughty. So I'm going to have a guy come over and we're going to have sex and you're going to watch and you're not going to be bad again.
You got to
'cause I don't-
stand outside the door. And
Yeah,
peek
it's
in.
very much get in the corner.
And
watch.
that's what I was talking about, a cuck. That's where this term comes from. I was like, where does it? This is
Oh.
starting to bring it
Okay,
all back
that makes
into
sense.
perspective. Yeah. Role play.
It's pretty common, right?
Right.
Role play it's very self-explanatory. You are playing a role.
We're playing a role.
You're
right
playing
now.
a role. We are. And in that sexual world, this is actually, in my opinion, the most common form of kink that people don't even know they're doing. But we'll get into that later, I'm sure. So yes, you're just playing a role.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm playing a role right now. Are you playing a role?
We're
Did
playing
you
a
not
role by
really-
being here.
Did-
Hosts.
Did you really not want to wear that?
Did you
leopard
really?
print?
No, I don't know if I want to.
I'm not playing
Be a
role.
cat in the Serengeti.
No, I love role play, and I don't feel like it's just like in. I think it should be in the bedroom all the time. Let's normalize it.
Indeed.
Let's normalize dirty talk as well.
Indeed. Indeed. For real. I mean, because like get into it. And also, what is dirty to you? Like
what is dirty to you?
calling me, a little nasty woman is, can be so kinky for some people.
Or
And-
or spank me, daddy.
Yes.
Why
Do
not?
it.
Yeah, but you're talking about if somebody is not gone past the point of missionary,
Yeah.
for them to be role playing, you asking a lot.
It's
I
true,
guess
but
so.
also
I
they
agree.
probably
Thank
don't
you.
realize that they're playing a role already.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't realize that they could go beyond that role. They can expand their own role. Like you can ask for more.
Step
Mhm.
outside the boundaries.
Step out, honey.
Beyond boundaries.
Beyond boundaries. You get
I
it.
love it. Okay, so nipple play.
Nipple play. I mean, you're playing with some.
Yeah, you're playing with
We love a
nipples.
little nipple moment.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially when you can feel it. So
I'm
many people
sorry,
have no
is it
sensation.
beyond
of it.
just touching the nipple? Is it?
Sucking the nipple, licking the nipple, piercing the nipple, all kinds of stuff
Licking
with
the
the
nipple.
Putting wax on the
Pinching
nipple.
it, wax on the
okay.
nipples.
Yeah.
I guess if you
Just like the
someone is
people,
like,
that is
yeah.
their thing. Like there's a
Yeah.
whole sect of people that
Oh, wow.
are just nipple people. Like,
Really?
yeah, they don't need penetration. They don't need to be stimulated in their genitals. It's just all.
I
up
heard
here.
that about BDSM too. That
Oh.
you don't need penetration.
No,
No.
you don't.
Okay.
No.
Not at all.
Okay, go on.
Financial domination. This is one that
That
was
sounds like abuse.
It's the one
Yeah.
everybody wants. It's quite literally someone is in
A
control
sugar
of your
daddy.
finances.
Oh, no, it's not a sugar
Oh.
daddy.
No, so financial domination is when, well, it could be if they're your only source of income.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, sugar babies have several sources of income because they are, because they are
And
smart.
this-
They ain't dumb.
This is when you give
and
control.
this turns people on.
Oh yeah. Especially people who
Where
make
are
a
they?
lot of money. Yeah. That's a lot of it's like where people that
Yeah.
make a lot of money and like kind of can have whatever they want.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It kind of turns them on to just give the card to someone else or the bank account to someone else.
This is a form of back at the beginning.
Wow.
all
Yeah.
BDSM.
So that's the umbrella. This
Yes.
is we're coloring it in.
We're coloring it in. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Okay.
Oralism.
I don't know that one.
So I actually looked it up, and it's the sound of someone having sex. So it's a sound thing. So
Okay.
it's like the sound of someone having sex, or like the sound of anything. Well, and it might even be anything. What turns you on is the sound. Like if you're listening to someone else having sex,
Heard.
And
You
you don't
know,
have to see them.
and you
have
get
to
turned
hear it.
on. Yes,
Okay.
and so it's oral has to do with hearing.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I looked that one up because I was like, what is that? And I'm like, oh. And so when you hear someone having sex, that could
Got
be a
it.
turn on.
It can be very sexy.
Okay. Europhilia.
Your philia, isn't that piss play?
Yeah. That's the
That's what?
golden shower.
Yeah, water
sport.
The movie
Yeah.
has the
Euro.
golden shower.
Okay, got it.
Euro,
No,
yes.
thank you.
It's a whole vibe.
There's a lot around
Come on,
that.
R. Kelly.
I was just telling her earlier, I didn't even know what a golden shower was until that Dave Chappelle skit,
No.
R. Kelly.
Oh my
Because I had heard
God.
people talking about R. Kelly,
Yes.
and then Dave Chappelle did that, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know what they were talking
like,
about.
Listen, people are into a lot of things, and I think the best part about getting into this world and this culture is you just learn to have open ears and open heart, because
Yes.
they might be extreme for you,
Yeah.
and you might be extreme for them. But
Mhm.
we're kind of all just here to support each other.
Yes,
Hold
totally.
space.
And
And
so
hold
no
space.
no
Yeah.
judging.
No judging.
Because I guess it's like
I'm
you're in a
working on it.
vulnerable
Or you know what?
space.
Judge, just don't be a dick.
Just keep
Yeah,
it
okay,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, judgment's a part of our life.
Yes,
You have to judge.
totally.
But
Yeah.
be an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
And I mean,
get
you know,
that.
if somebody told me something about that, I'd be like, oh, well, if that
I love
floats
that
your
for you.
boat, yeah, I love that for you.
Well, I like that
But-
you said judge, but don't be an asshole, because I think it is important to look at your judgment so that you can look at your own growth.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Like, we don't know where we're restricted if we're ignoring our own judgment.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely. So humiliation.
It's self-explanatory. You love to be
Yeah.
humiliated. And that's that can go into that sadism or masochism, depending on if you're the
Yeah.
humiliate or the person
Mhm.
doing the humiliation.
For whatever reason, that's sad to me that someone
I
wants
was
to be
just gonna
humiliated.
say, as a trauma therapist, my head is exploding, but we will
I
go
know.
on through this.
Okay. Consensual non-consent.
Essentially, you've had the conversation before,
Oh, like what the safe word is?
sort of.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So yes, that's a part of it, because I mean, there's always a safe word, or a safe action, or a safe code, or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So that's really it. You've had the conversation before. We're going to the party. I don't want to do this, and this. Don't let this, and this happen to me.
Yes.
And so when you're in the party, it's almost as if y'all are free flowing, and it's like, oh my God, how do you know? It's like, I
Mhm.
just do.
Yeah.
Right.
Just-
Because
then you-
the boundaries have been
The
set.
boundary-
The boundaries
know.
have been set, and
Mhm.
you know.
And you can always quit. Like, that's the best part about it. You can always stop. anything.
Yes.
My safe word is pineapple.
Look at that. Look at
Like-
that.
Yeah, we all know.
So this is only like a tenth
Yes.
of the list. This doesn't even scratch the surface, but I feel like these were kind of the big ones and
Mm.
things that we would like really open up. And so I'm looking at BDSM. Now, when we were at the event,
Mhm.
most of what everything that most of what we saw was BDSM. So what I would like to know is why did you decide to choose that as opposed to some of these other categories?
Mhm.
And what does bondage and domination have to do with the liberation of Black bodies?
Okay, so you're gonna have to ask the second part again after
Okay.
I answer the first part,
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
don't retain information that well.
Yes.
So it was important to me to delve into what I was seeing in that beauty of consent and trust and power exchange. I went into the BDSM world thinking it was just going to be a whole bunch of half naked people hunching on each other,
Mhm.
and it was that's maybe a tenth of the world that you see, because a lot of it's done in private, because it can be a very private thing.
Yeah.
The exhibitionists, of course, love the big play parties and the big ballrooms and all that stuff. But I'd say a majority, if not 80% or more, of the people like to go to their hotel rooms or their homes, invite people to their space, make it a thing.
Mhm.
I just loved that communal trust, consent moment. They're all
Mhm.
so kind to each other.
Mhm.
Of course, we're a community, so we have our drama, but for the most part, people want to ask if they can hug you. People want to know what your pronouns and what name you're using today.
Mhm.
May I share this picture of you? Like, it's very,
Inclusive.
it is so inclusive and it's just so nurturing. And the Black people in that world feel so safe, especially with one another,
Mm.
because we know what we're bringing into it societally. So going into a place where we can be appreciated for our bodies, sometimes fetishized, but we can snuff that out pretty quickly, because everyone is so honest in the moment. And I wanted to talk about that.
Mm.
Now ask me the second part again.
Okay, so the second part is, how does the bondage and domination relate to the liberation of Black bodies? Because that's what you said, liberation of Black bodies. So how is that liberating with the bondage?
There's something about going into a place where the rules are don't be an asshole, and they stick to it, right? It is not up for negotiation. That is not society, right? Society, you can basically run into anything at all times, and it is what it is. That is not how it works in the world of BDSM. They are steadfast in the idea of you didn't ask, you cannot have. And when you start learning to use those muscles in that world, you use it outside of that world. So you start negotiating salaries different. You start interacting with your family differently. It is you-centered. It is body-centered. It's autonomy. That is true autonomy. And then also understanding how other people receive information or receive pleasure or whatever you want to say they're receiving, you now know how you're giving it. You're thinking about how you're saying stuff. You're thinking about how you're presenting things. And you become more inclusive and more dynamic. And for some reason, you just seem like a badass, but all you're really doing is doing what's honest to you and what's kind to others. I wanted to just reframe that. Because, yeah, it is bondage. I mean, Black people are in bondage a lot of the time. Respectability politics, body shaming, the full-on misogyny that we live in. That's cool. That is a bondage we put on ourselves. We can lift that. That's not hard, but it's us. We have to do it.
We have to do it.
Okay, so I have to ask, because you're now talking about what I was really, the part that I really wanted to ask you about.
I am so excited.
Okay. Okay. So for me, I'm straddling this. Okay, because there's a part of me that is wildly inclusive. I believe that everyone, as long as you are in consent and respecting others, do you, right? I couldn't help when I was walking around your beautiful exhibit and wonder, I wanted to interview every person in each photo and ask what happened to them in their childhood. Like, what led you here? Especially as Black people with our culture and our history of bondage and what we are living with now, right? With the societal constraints that you just so eloquently listed. Now, you've given me a little bit of the answer. And this is what I wanted to know. How is this a healing modality? And how is this not a place of, I am so isolated, I am so alone, and there is a group of people who will accept me. So I'm just going to go be with these people, even if I'm doing things I don't really know I'd be doing otherwise. And I'm just wondering how that works. And I would love for you to speak on that, because I want to understand it. And I'm almost done. But the little bit that you just said to me was like, oh, I see how this can be healing. If you're going into a space where you have agency over your body, you have agency over the bondage, and you have agency over being domineering, then that would help you out into your regular life. But the part about the people that need to belong and that are now here in this world. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, it's BDSM we just refer to it as leather. Like, let's just also say that. Like, leather is the scene, it's the culture. BDSM can be some of the actions, but as we just saw, BDSM it's such an umbrella. We just kind of refer to it as leather. Nice. So in the leather world, you're building your own universe. And that is super empowering for some people. And like that belonging piece that you're talking about, you're right. It is honestly, I forget what is it, something for lost toys. I forget what it's called, but it's very much that world. Like, I mean, I'm sorry I giving the secret away, y'all, but it is full of people who are ousted from major society.
They're on the fringe of societal norms.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they go into this, and a lot of them don't have a lot of success at first because they don't generally have a lot of social skills because they haven't been able to practice it.
Right.
So, and they meet a lot of other introverts or introverts or geeky people or people who are super intellectual, but are also sexual like so many people, or maybe their bodies aren't the way that their families are, whatever. So yes, they're on the fringes, but you get to build your world. So you're quite literally picking who you want to talk to. You're picking who you want to love you. You're picking who you want to share with. And that's verbally, that's physically, people you want to travel with, people you want to share gear with. I think
clique.
It is like you're building a clique, and you're building a clique of people who get it. Like, there's no explanation. It's the same with like Black people. Why do we love going to Black people shit? Because we don't have to
explain.
We don't have to
everything.
explain everything. But when you do bring, Brenda from accounting, it's like, And Brenda's here.
I know.
Okay, cool. Like, shout out to
And
Brenda.
now you
Shout out
gotta
to Brenda.
you gotta switch code
Brenda
switch.
got
Code
questions. It's like, Brenda,
Yeah.
drink your Hennessy and sit down.
Stop asking me about my ponytail.
That's my ponytail.
Stop asking me if
And
my
get that
hair is
potato
real.
salad.
All of this, all the hair in this room is real as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, touching nobody's damn hair.
Stop touching my hair.
But no, I mean, I think that's what it is.
Wow.
It's the not the, was the word autonomy?
You said build your own universe.
You do.
Yes, you're
And
building
that
your
is
universe.
amazing.
Wow.
You
It's
do. And
amazing.
when you come, there's something about coming from, and I love that you talk about it, you ask about childhood. There's something about coming from a really balanced start. It could be home, it could be a school or whatever. Wherever you found a good foundation, you know this. When you come from something that's feeding you and something that is helpful to you, if it's not out, like if something outside of that ain't doing it, you say no.
Right.
Mhm.
It is healthy for you to be balanced. It is healthy for you to be able to say no. It is healthy for you to be able to express exactly what it is you want or need. And sometimes it's our job as your community to say, okay, I love that for you. It might be a little too far just because remember the last time we went a little too far? Right? It's like, now I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying let's just reference our last time or let's reference what we are, what our abilities are. I know it because I'm your friend. I'm your family.
So how does the leather community feel if someone wants to join and they are on the prudish side? What if it's just real simple what they're into? Like they just like a hand on their throat and then they don't actually want to, they don't want asphyxiation, which wasn't up there.
Yeah.
But like, what if that is where they're at?
I mean, I think
would they
we're-
still be welcome?
You're talking about me. Like I don't think of myself as incredibly kinky or
That is
fetish
hilarious.
heavy. I don't. I mean, the first thing that I love about leather and the BDSM culture is the fashions. I love it.
Yes, the fashion.
I love the clothing. The
Yes,
gear
yes.
is where it's at. Like, I mean,
I love
just-
old daddies in West Hollywood with all the
yes.
leather caps and the
Yes, and you said something in the interview with Clarissa, I think, about like
Marissa.
with Marissa that Black people made leather cool.
Yeah.
Like, and you were like, and that kind
we
of
did.
incorporates
It
this
started
whole,
in that like 60s motorcycle moment, and then Black people just took it.
yeah.
I mean,
We
the
just
80s
rolled
was
with it.
just leather, and
Yeah,
I
it
am
was.
so
Oh, yeah.
mad that I didn't get to wear them out.
Eddie Murphy raw and that red
Baby.
leather.
Oh,
No,
yes.
the purple leather.
Baby.
He had
The
purple too.
So
yes.
good.
Snake skin.
Yeah,
so
there was
good.
that one too, but the
Yeah.
red one.
But no,
Yeah.
they're definitely welcome, right? They're definitely welcome because at the core, it's not really even about the actions. It's about finding you. Like, we need to find you a tribe. We need you to know that you're safe here. If you want to go into the room and play, great. If you don't, like myself, I just want to be out at the bar, hanging, chilling.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll go to my room, put a new outfit, like just,
Mhm.
I'm here to
Yes.
play and this is my play.
Yeah, there was a woman at the event who had on this floral dress. I
Mhm.
mean, she looked like a school teacher.
Yeah.
And your little, cute, neat haircut and
Yeah.
fairly. And she was like, "Will you take my picture?" And she was next to the one where you had the swing with the flowers.
Yeah.
And she was so excited, like, and I was like, "What do you do?" Okay, but anyway,
I love the mix, and I know you're about to say something, so go ahead. And I was going to just talk go back, but go ahead.
Well, something you said about, when a person comes in and you're kind of in their world and you can tell them you went a little too far last time. I kind of chuckled because I'm like, that's just like a best friend.
It is.
Yeah.
When we are on the edge and doing, because I get wild sometimes.
Yeah.
And she'd be
No.
like,
You?
TT.
no.
Yeah.
No,
She'd
not
she'd be like, TT, calm down. And so, I love that for the people in your community that y'all have each other like that, especially Black folks.
It's
Because no
Especially
matter
Black
what
folks.
circle we're in and where we are, we need to always have each other's back.
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this book by Seth Godin called Tribes or Find Your Tribe. And it really talks about what you're talking about. It's like once you find your tribe, not just in like your extracurricular activities or what you love to do as a lifestyle, but your business and even like and creating like this safe space around that tribe, I feel like is so important. And the inclusivity of it is just like if somebody's a little different and they may not be into all the kink stuff, it's okay. Like we welcome you, we welcome you. And right now, like you were saying, we have a tribe.
Mhm.
Like us right now, like what we're creating, even with this podcast, even having you come on, like we're tribing up right now. And
Indeed.
and so I think it's something to say about that. And back to Ani, the psychological part of it, I think it was really hard for me to even step into this space to even talk about it. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And so for me to be like dressed like a cheetah and to be right now, I'm like,
Full
what?
cheetah.
Like, what is happening? So I'm able to like express myself because I feel like I'm in a safe space. You two have created a safe space for me. I knew it was going to be a safe space to be like this as well. And so I really think it's important that if we are in this space of self-expression, then let's like fully and authentically be in that space of self-expression.
Indeed.
Back to you in terms of the psychology of everything. What does the mental health community how does the mental health community feel about
Look.
Kink? Like, I know, what is that?
So the mental health community started off very bad, naughty about Kink. Yeah, no, it was
Do
horrible.
tell.
It was horrible. So DSM, that book I brought in on a few episodes ago, it started in 1952.
Okay.
So just the year alone, you can imagine what they had to say about Kink, right? It was a mental disorder.
And they were all going to hell.
No, well, the psychology doesn't deal with religion.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
that's religion. But it was a mental disorder. You needed psychological help. As the years went on, it got better and better. Probably because a lot of people in the psychological field are freaks. And they were like, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with being hung and whatever in a swing. So it went in 1968 to distasteful practices that you were unable to sub for normal sex.
Mm.
So it wasn't just that you were into it. It's like you couldn't then just go have normal sex. It moved on in the 80s. Sexual deviance was replaced with sexual dysfunction. So they took the deviant out.
Okay.
And in 87, they finally removed homosexuality as a sexual deviance.
Oh, wow.
87.
Wow.
That's crazy to me.
Hmm.
In 2000, the word paraphilia replaced sexual deviance, which is a huge thing because paraphilia is taking away the deviance or dysfunction, is really just something that you like. I like having wax poured on me. It's not a dysfunction. It feels good. I like the heat, whatever, right? And then in 2013, where we are right now with the DSM-5, it's all gone. The only way that anything around kink, which isn't even in there anymore, now it's just this word, paraphilia. The only way it's a problem is if it's without consent. It's if it is with someone who is underage, or if you want to cause harm to someone who doesn't want harm back to consent.
Yeah.
Then it's a problem. Then you have a psychopathy. All the other stuff is no longer a problem. Go off and have fun having sex any way you want to. That's where we are today with the DSM. So thank goodness. But it had a journey, right? It had a journey to get here. And that's why I wanted to go back to now what they're calling it is healthy kink versus people that have all these dysfunctions. And healthy kink was what we just talked about, which was what I was curious about. Like, how healthy is it if people come from trauma? This is the last piece I'm going to put because I really want to go back to you. But there are a lot of studies that show that a lot of people in the kink community did come from childhood trauma. They did come not just sexual, physical, emotional, or they witnessed something. They're having PTSD. And I just really want to circle back to how eloquently you explained why BDSM would be useful to these people. To be able to, it's about to make me tear up. To be able to control your environment, to have agency not only over your body, but over other people in a way where you're giving them consent, that is so healing.
And that doesn't, as children, if it happened when they were children, you don't get that.
You don't get that. And that's why it's because they said most of these people, and especially people of color, Black people, had a lot of abuse that fall into it. And now I understand, and thank you, because I really didn't. I didn't understand why, if you were a person who was being systematically abused, racial abuse is still happening every day in this country. We've all dealt with it. Why you would want to go into a sexual exploration where you're then again being beaten or slapped around
Or tied up
or
and
tied
restrained.
up
Yeah,
and
yeah.
restrained. Like,
Yeah.
why would you want that? But now it makes sense because you have control over what's happening to
Yes.
you
Yeah.
Absolutely.
in
Wow.
a safe environment with a community
With a whole
Community.
group of people that support you.
that support. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. That's
and
everything.
support the psychology of it.
Of
Like
it.
we uphold that standard of we don't do anything but this.
No, yeah, I thought
And-
I was
and-
going to be arguing with you more, but
You're
like,
I'm like, no, I get it.
I get it now.
But I have a quick question. Like, have y'all in your community, just personally, had something where somebody crossed the line
Oh yeah.
and y'all had to show up and show out?
Oh, absolutely.
Show up. Why you be ready to
I'm ready.
Why you be ready to
Well, I mean, because like I said, I'm
Show up and show
I'm sorry, but y'all don't get it. I'm
GI.
exactly. That's the GI. I'm from Gary,
I was just like, what is GI? I'm so excited.
Everybody
So-
should know.
I love a good community or a backing of people because I'm gonna tell if something happened to them, I'm riding out, and
Yeah.
she know.
She'll pull
I
up.
had to get in my car.
Yeah.
We're all right.
Yes.
with that.
You know.
Yeah.
So I want to know that the people within your community have that support.
Yeah, there are things in place to discipline people non-sexually for crossing the line. There are levels to the discipline too. Not so much even just ousting people. Sometimes people don't understand the concept of consent, right? And it's not that they don't understand it because they don't want to. It's just it's something hasn't clicked in their brain. They could be autistic. They could
Yes. Okay.
have they could have a history of a trauma where maybe they don't listen well, or maybe they're dyslexic and they just don't read well. Like there are things.
Or
So
they really do have a psychopathy.
or they could,
Yeah.
right? So it's like we generally you remove the person from the group, not oust them, but remove them and have conversations. Most of the time they're elders, people who, well, I guess I'm now an elder, but people who've kind of done and been in this thing for a minute, we go and have a conversation or two or three. And it's really nice because we essentially assume everything you say happened because it happened to you. So we're not going to tell you it didn't happen, but we are going to try and get to the bottom of it because an interpretation of what someone said is not always what someone said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And an interpretation of what someone did isn't always. My favorite are the hugs. So like I'm a hugger. I'm from Texas. I hug people. Sometimes I forget to ask to hug them. I do it all the time, and I have to apologize mid-hug, like right. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I am hugging you. I did not ask. Right.
Yes.
So it would be appropriate for that person to go to an elder and say, that guy hugged me without my consent. I violated consent. I need to be talked to, right? We all know where I come from in my world, but in their world, I just violated their physical person.
Yeah.
So, like, again, even a physical action as simple as hugging can be a problem. But there are measures in place.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah. I love that.
Because if not, tell them to call me.
Yeah.
So, just one more question, and it really just kind of sums up the exhibit that we went to. And I'm an artist as well,
Yes,
and
you
so so I love that this fashion. The leather community and the fashion and all of that is just so important. And growing up in like a strict household and then being able to step out as an artist and the self-expression, there were two quotes that you mentioned at the exhibit. And one was, art is a representation of our community. And then if we can't express ourselves with our bodies, how can we express ourselves, period? I felt like that resonated with me so much. And can you elaborate on what you meant by, if we can't express ourselves with our bodies, then how can we express ourselves, period? Like, what
It's
did that mean to you?
it's the ultimate canvas. It's the ultimate tool. It's quite literally the only thing we have to experience the world. Like we can't really experience it any other way. Like even if you can say we could use the internet, but bodies made the internet, darling. So, right? And then you're not just interacting with the code, you're interacting with photographs and graphics and all that good stuff. That's a body, that's a people, that's a thing. So yeah, no, I believe it's the ultimate canvas. And I think that if you're not going to well, that's not, what is it, the HR term, use it or lose it for your time off?
Yes.
You got to use it or you will lose it. And if you let someone else dictate, then you can't be mad with what you get.
I think his answer harkens back to this spirituality within the body, right?
Mhm.
Like
What we
everything,
talked about
what we
during
talked about.
Kama Sutra,
Yeah, like everything starts right here.
Yeah, it does. It starts right here. And this is something really nice to know, that you're not crazy when you want to be treated the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and even if that want to be treated is you want your husband to dominate you and own the house, right? That might feel very mainstream for a whole bunch of people, but there are lots of women who are not down for that, right? But if that's how you want to live and that's how you want to raise your children and how you want your body to, we love it. Because it is your body. You are allowed to do whatever the hell you want to with it, baby.
Right. And we can't dictate someone else's balance.
Absolutely not. And as soon as you're ready to move it around, you should be able to move it around. Because I do believe that anyone should be able to express several parts of what they want for their whole life. You ain't got to be this one thing forever. You can stick to something.
That's what I was thinking too. I could see this in terms of it being a healing modality. That like, okay, I've moved through this. I don't need to be sub anymore.
Exactly.
When I first got into it, I thought I needed to be like, someone submissive and like wear the things and the collars and all that good stuff. They were super cute outfits, but ultimately
It's always about the outfit.
it's always about the outfit.
Yes.
But ultimately, it just turned out that I needed to learn that I myself am powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, I might be a little kooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just an artist. That's all it turned out to be. I'm just an artist. I just see things creatively.
I love that.
Yeah.
Gay or straight.
I love that. And then Mr. Texas Leather.
That was the thing.
So, yeah.
You found that out, didn't you?
Leather.
You found that out, didn't you?
Tell us about this little contest.
Oh my God, so great. Okay, Mr. Texas Leather, 2019, it was an experience. It was an experience. It's essentially they call us title holders, and we are quite literally the pageant queens of the leather world, but our real job is to be representatives of our regions. Most of the time, like our bar or the place that we convene. So most of the leather titles come from places. So Mr. Texas is out of, what was the Dallas Eagle. Now another Dallas Eagle has taken over, but that is our home bar. And we hang there and we do our events there and we invite our outward community to come and mix and mingle with us there. My job at that point was to go out into the world and represent Texas and its leather culture. And ultimately, the international stage at International Mr. Leather, where I don't know what I placed, but I had a blast.
Yes.
And 60 some odd other people from around the world are representing their state and their country. It was really fun.
Can you talk a little bit about your jacket, which is absolutely gorgeous?
Yes, I did actually wear this at IML, or International Mr. Leather. This is made by Darkwood Sports, my exclusive leather atelier.
Ooh,
not
atelier.
I absolutely love them. They are always down to make the kooky crap that I want.
That's gorgeous.
But this was it was just a black look, and I love that asymmetrical Middle Eastern look. I think that is so beautiful. I also love like the way that Muslim women dress with the matching dress pant hijab. I love it. But it just wasn't enough for the stage because it was really flat. So I decided to paint it one night. I was just like,
so you painted that yourself?
I painted
That's what I was wondering.
That's so dope. That's so dope.
I just needed it to be a little more, ridiculous.
It's in living color.
It is in living color.
Oh my God. It's like something out of In Living Color.
It is.
Okay, so what is your fee for someone who has a piece of leather and wants to bring it to you so that you could paint it?
We start right at $100. We start right at $100.
That's not bad at all.
I got a couple of pieces of leather I might bring over.
We love leather.
We love leather. And you can always play with it. Like leather painting is a thing. Stoning leather, putting sequins in leather.
What about pleather? Can you paint that?
Absolutely. Pleather, vinyl,
vegan
plastic.
leather is what it's called now.
Vegan leather is just pleather.
Oh, I know.
No, it's okay.
But you can do vegan.
You can do anything.
Okay.
Well, I have another quick question because we talked with like Kama Sutra and Tantric sex last week. And I just wanted to know, like, I know what all of, the kink is in these different subcategories. Is there any touch of spirituality?
Oh,
in
300%. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Any of it.
Religion makes its way into kink. Spirituality makes its way into kink. Wellness practices makes their way into kink. It is just really, they are just the umbrella. When you start dealing with people, they can't help but get into how does it feel? What am I feeling? How can I make something come out of me that I need to release? So yeah, 100%.
Okay. But I guess that would
they
probably-
overlap 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a great question. We need to really move beyond this dominant American culture
Uh-huh.
and this puritanical foundation.
This perceived puritanical perception, because there would be
because
there would be no people. Yeah, there would be no people in these
Yes.
rooms had we not, there would be no people in these rooms had we adopted it. And it drives me crazy. And I'm going to try not to make this a long-winded moment, but it drives me absolutely crazy that people will sit in front of me and ooh and eh and ah, but they will go home and they will refer to their husband as daddy. They will ask them to be spanked in the bedroom. They will have children out of wedlock. They will
But
fuck
that's
another
my
person's
point.
husband. Like, what?
Yeah.
That is my point. That's why they
Exactly.
have to
Right.
have the mask on.
Yeah. It's like,
Because
girl,
of how this country was founded was let's just wipe out any sort of individuality, bring in our
Yes.
church, our rules, our spiritual book, and if you don't do it this way, you're wrong. And so everybody had to go
Boy,
into
you kinky.
secret.
But
Right.
I'm always
Everyone had to go into secret with how they wanted to really live. And you're
Yes.
absolutely right. The majority of people are not abiding by any of these ridiculous rules.
No, absolutely not. But it is what it is. And that's why we brought you on. And that's why we're having this conversation about countercultural lifestyles. We need to talk about it more.
It needs to be normal.
love it.
We need to normalize it. I wish we had more time. I really do.
we can
We're
always do
going to
part
bring
two.
everybody back.
We're going to bring everybody back.
Yeah.
We'll do part two.
I love your confidence. I love your style. I love your voice. And it's so important for anyone who wants to just have self-expression in
Indeed.
general. And so thank you so much for joining us.
You're so welcome.
And is there anything else you'd like to leave with the audience? And where can we find you?
Okay. Support art in any way that you have the capacity to. You don't always have to buy it. Sometimes just looking at it helps us a lot. So go to galleries. If you know someone who says they're an artist, ask to look at their work. Be kind. Try not to be brutal at first. So that's what I'd like to. Oh, and be on the lookout. I have some new fun stuff that I'm shooting. I'm going into the world of non-conventional family dynamics with my next exhibition, Cousins, which is going to be super fun. So please be on the lookout for that. How you can find me, jeremyateel.com, TLTEEL. You can spell it like the color. I bought both domains.
Smart.
Yeah, because, the color. And also Jeremy A. Teal on Instagram. You can email me. It's the same thing too. So I love that.
Wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're
Thank
so
you
welcome.
so
Thank you, ladies.
much.
This was so much fun.
This was really, really
Yes.
important.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was so important.
All right.
You do not want to miss next week. We are going to continue the conversation with counterculture lifestyles, polyamory.
Yeah.
So come back and see us. And thank you so much for joining. We out.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
It's my time.